The 1971 Buffalo Bills were bad. Really bad. They only won one game, and the next worst team won 4 games. In 14 games, they only scored 18 offensive touchdowns. They were shut out 4 times and only scored 3, 7, and 9 points in other games. They committed the most turnovers in the NFL while accumulating the least number of first downs. At quarterback, the Bills had second-year starter Dennis Shaw, who put up some huge numbers at San Diego State. In 1970, he was named the Offensive Rookie of the Year, even though he threw twice as many interceptions as touchdowns. He faltered badly in 1971, and a promising career path was stymied. After 7 straight losses to start the year and 11 consecutive losses dating to 1970, the Bills handed the quarterback controls to someone else, only to hand them back to Shaw after 2 more losses. Dennis Shaw had the 3rd worst sack percentage in the NFL and was sacked for the 5th most yards. Even completed passes didn't always turn out well either. James Harris worked his way into 2 starts and 7 games played, but his play was worse than Shaw's, as he only threw 1 touchdown pass against 6 interceptions and was sacked at an even higher rate than Shaw. Of course, the Bills had O.J. Simpson at running back, and he shouldered almost the entire load. Despite having a moderately successful season for Simpson, the Bills finished with the 3rd fewest rushing yards in the NFL. A lot was expected of Simpson when the Bills drafted him 1st overall in 1969 out of USC, but he only delivered 1,927 rushing yards and 12 rushing touchdowns during his first 3 years in Buffalo. The former Heisman Trophy winner and Heisman Trophy runner-up did show some glimpses of brilliance, which foreshadowed some of the best rushing seasons in NFL history. Running back Greg Jones was a 1970 Vikings fifth-round draft pick out of UCLA, and the Bills picked him up when they released him that same year. This catch is the only NFL receiving touchdown of his career. Wide receiver Marlon Briscoe was converted from quarterback. He had a solid 1971 season after making the Pro Bowl in 1970, just 2 years after becoming the first black quarterback to start in the AFL. A remarkable transformation. Bills had another quality wide receiver in Haven Moses. Midway through the 1972 season, the Bills traded Moses to Denver for wide receiver Dwight Harrison, who was converted to cornerback. A comparison of the players post-trade indicates a decisive Denver advantage. Tight end Ted Coy was the Raiders' 1970 second-round draft pick and was traded to the Bills in 1971. After catching 10 passes in 1971, the Bills switched him to running back for 1972, then converted him to strong safety in 1973, then turned him back into a tight end in 1974. This was the only receiving touchdown of his NFL career. Bills owner Ralph Wilson tabbed Harvey Johnson as head coach for 1971, even though Johnson's head coaching record for the Bills in 1968 was 1 win, 10 losses, and 1 tie. Johnson's head coaching tenure is one of the worst in AFL/NFL history. Why did Wilson rehire Johnson? Speculation is due to the bond they formed through their mutual love of thoroughbred horse racing. In Week 8 against Miami, the Dolphins cut through the Bills' flimsy defense with 302 rushing yards in a 34-0 pummeling. Defensive end Al Cowlings led the Bills with 8.5 sacks in 1971. Number 82 didn't get the sack on this play, but number 75 Cal Snowden did. He finished second on the team with 6.5 sacks, but he was traded to San Diego the following year. Cornerback Bob James led the Bills with 4 interceptions. The team only had 11. On this play, he picked off rookie quarterback Jim Plunkett in Week 11, which happened to be the Bills' only win of the season, 27-20. Alvin Wyatt played cornerback, punt returner, and kickoff returner for the Bills, and he wore a unique face mask. He wasn't the greatest defensive back in the league, but he was okay as a punt and kickoff returner as he finished in the NFL's top 10 in return yardage for both punts and kicks. Overall, the Bills' special teams were just so-so. Bills went through 2 kickers in 1971, and the last man standing was John Leipold, who kicked this 50-yarder in Week 14's 22-9 loss to Kansas City. Hunter Spike Jones performed admirably, and the Bills' 1971 draft choices offered reason for optimism, as wide receiver J.D. Hill and his blistering speed put defensive backs on their heels. These catches are the first 2 touchdowns of his 7-year NFL career. Wide receiver Bob Chandler was drafted in the 7th round, and he paid big dividends for the Bills. Running back Jim Braxton was drafted in the 3rd round, and he too proved to be a valuable performer. Also taken in the 3rd round out of Washington was center Bruce Jarvis. Whoever heard of a 6'7" center? Tackle Donnie Green was taken in the 5th round, and he was even bigger than Jarvis. The Bills were also fortunate by signing free agent defensive back Tony Green, who would make first-team All-Pro in 1974 and make the 1977 Pro Bowl team. He played 9 years and intercepted 37 passes for Buffalo. For the 1972 season, the Bills quadrupled their win total to 4 from 1971.